I can hear the music from the band in the pub, singing songs they heard when they were young, reviving their childhood to create the feeling of smiling and clapping their hands with their mum. In this pub or a club in a nearly high street where the sky is eternally too high to reach and the price of a nice mug of beer isn't dear, plays the band with the man saying, "We're all here tonight, are you feeling all right?" and other such patter that doesn't much matter, but fills in the gaps so the thrills don't collapse and he can't hear the cracks from the men in flat caps. With the drinking, the sinking feeling is really completely too much to compete with as such, and it's lukewarm applause, so he tries to look for a little bit more. And surprise, the girl with blue eyes appears at the door, says, "Go on, play some more," and laughing and clapping and missing her hands. She smiles at her man and his rock and roll band, who cannot understand and is well out of hand. So he strikes an old chord, sings down the microphone, stares at the floor, hoping that coping after 3 pints or 4 will get a bit easier if people applaud, and they will. Because the instant rehash of a late 60s smash is like drinking on pills. It gives them cheap thrills. They're dancing on tables, completely unstable, and spilling the beer as they cheer, recalling the times, recounting the years 67 or 8, but wasn't it great? So they get one more beer, but it's getting quite late, so they drink up and go with a mate they don't know, singing songs out of date, out of line, in a state. While the man in the band is now squeezing the hand of the girl with blue eyes, pleasing and teasing with little disguise over her concept of unmarried bliss, conception of his little kids by her carried, and his internal worry about kids in a hurry and the financial cost it's taking a risk, is soon lost and squashed and sealed and congealed with a lipsticky kiss. And he's had too much drink, so he doesn't resist. He says, "I never knew rock and roll was like this." And she tells him she's pregnant. He thought she was fat. He says, "Rock and roll, baby," and falls flat on his back. 3/4 year on, he's a daughter and son, and he plays the guitar while they soon learn to hum along with a song and beat on a drum. And he got a transistor for brother and sister, rock and roll classics on Radio 1. They dance in the kitchen, clap hands with their mum, and acting real cool, tell the kids at their school, "My daddy's a rock and roll star, plays guitar, all the craze," reviving the songs from when he was my age. That was ages ago, but he keeps it alive. He says people need it to help them survive. He says it's essential, this revival survival, but never says why, and he's got funny eyes, but I don't really mind, because Daddy will teach me the rock and roll game, so when I grow up I can do just the same.
This is a song called "Are You Hungry, Joe?" It's about various food bank situations where some of them you can just go and line up and get food. Other food banks you have to somehow go through an interview and prove that you are hungry. The guy said, "Are you hungry, Joe?" And Joe said, "Well, yes, I am." The guy said, "When's the last time you ate, Joe?" And Joe said, "I don't quite remember when." What's the worst thing about being hungry, Joe? Joe said, "Almost worse than the pain in my stomach is knowing that nobody loves me. Nobody loves me. I can live or die, I can live or die, I can live or die, and nobody loves me." Scares the hell out of me. Scares the hell out of me. Can't talk no more. Can't talk when I cry. Are you hungry, Joe? 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 Are you hungry, Joe?
Half past 6 and a belly full of grub. Stiff with a quiff, quits home for the pub. 7 to 11 in the public bar, we're here for the beer and a laugh, ha ha. He's wed to a flues, but they hardly speak, so he hits the booze, hits the booze, hits the booze most nights of the week, and it's a lousy life, she thinks, his wife. It's a lousy life, and it stinks. Flatulent, fat, and 40-45. He's put 14 pints of bitter inside. Nout in his pockets as he staggers home, but a packet of cigs and a greasy comb. He slams the door, kicks off his shoes, is fast asleep before the tea brews. And it's a lousy life, she thinks. It's a lousy life and it stinks. It's a lousy life for the washed-up wife of a permanently plastered, pissed up bastard. Ha! Bastard. Bastard. She looks at Beery, slumped in his chair. Call it a marriage, there's bugger all there. An hour more tally to drunken snores, what with him and the box and the household chores. Home's a hopeless habit, a bit like heroin, its needle stuck firmly under her fucking skin. And it's a lousy life, she thinks. It's pretty obvious. It's a lousy life, and it stinks. What the hell do you do?
You who rule the courts of your law and disorder, you dare call us political thugs. You who camouflage the crimes, a three-piece chauffeur-driven suit set. You who allow them to wander armed and dangerous, packing directorships in their holsters, maiming and killing with their factories. You slap the wrists of your drinking buddies when they're caught red-handed, poisoning the air we breathe, the water we drink. You who allow the extinction of the species by condoning the echo crimes of our century, you dare call us political thugs. You who allow the secret police to hound and terrorize the innocent, to deport the persecuted to death in their homelands. You who permit the USA to test their weapons on our soil despite the objections of millions. You dare call us political thugs. You permit the massacre of thousands of caribou, the flooding of native homelands, the theft of their land, the destruction of their way of life. You sentence the dispossessed to lifetimes of misery behind iron bars because you can't tolerate them, you can't break them, and you can't eliminate them. You forgive the grandest larcenies, the checkout counter robberies, the everyday swindles of those that rule, gouging the penniless, demanding blood and tears. You condone the rape and mutilation and murder of women. You dare call us political thugs. You shelter the dregs of washed out dictatorships from Haiti, Vietnam, the Philippines, Nazi Germany, that despise, depose death rulers from afar. You sweep the slime, the crud, the garbage of your system under your rule. We're watching you. You dare to show your Nazi jowled faces in public while you build concentration camps out back for us. We know who you are. Dare to ask us to grovel under your gavel, to rise when you waddle, to swear on your Bible the wretched truth of our survival before your honor so dishonored. Distinguishable gentlemen, we won't forget you. Go on, read our mail, listen to our shouts of defiance, our whispers of love. You don't scare us. Crank out your final justice for yourselves, not us. Oil the drum rolls in favor of your own execution, not ours. Rule in favor of total annihilation if you dare. Because we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight to the end. Criminalized, institutionalized, terrorized, we're gonna fight. Chained, barred, gagged, and bound, we're gonna fight. Sentenced and damned, we're gonna fight. Bring out your shock troops. We'll piss in their path and ground them. Bring out your butchers. We'll point out your prime cuts. Bring out your tear gas. We know how to cry. We carry a new world in our hearts. We who watch the clock approach midnight. We who raise our voices in anger. We who rattle your windows with sticks and stones. We who throw our bodies in front of your machines. We who demand an end to the madness. Don't you dare call us political thugs.
The life and times, it started already, pay attention. The life and times of your average man is a B-movie flip side no one needs. Factory holiday made in Japan. Bought a couple of rabbits to watch them breed, had a son or 2.5. Statistics always make me laugh. Average nominal animal brand, humanity and vanity hand in hand. Looking in the mirror face to face with the average ability to understand, or probably not. Depending, take what you got and work out the ending.
This song is called Sex Trade Worker, because you can take the girl out of the gutter, but maybe you can't take the gutter out of the girl. Amen. It's a quiet song. You pity me because I raised my kid working Young Street, but would you pity me, a welfare mom in the pubs? Welfare mom, suck your tax dollars, you say. Well, I'll take my career over dependence any day. And I'll suck your yuppie cock for your hard-earned bucks. I'll suck your self-righteous cock for $50. Sex trade worker, call off your old tired ethics. Sex trade worker, a blowjob is better than no job. I never said I'd sell myself to any man. I'm only renting an image sensation of your own sexuality. Decriminalize means we can control our livelihoods. In Nineveh we danced and we all knew where we stood. So keep your fucking laws off my body! Keep your filthy laws off my body! Sex trade worker, making safe sex our business. Sex trade worker, no bad women, just bad laws! I talked to you in the lounge before my show. Hey, I took off my clothes, but I never stripped my integrity. Afterwards, you remarked, what's a bad girl like you doing wearing glasses, talking so intelligently? Well, fuck your sexist myth with my whole life! Oh, fuck your mythology! I live no double life! Sex trade worker, it's a business doing pleasure with you. Sex trade worker, whore power!
Wherever there's a post, and wherever there's a seat, and wherever there's a place where the council meets, it's money, 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 money makes most of the moves. The public pays for the private apartment, keys in the pocket of the chairman of department, who clocks to expenses 1,000 quid for where he's never been, and for what he never did. and to oil the wheels on shady deals. A councillor churns out a spiel that appeals to the deaf, dumb and blind, of the kind that you find have been left behind when they've wined and dined. All the ghosts and ghouls and the gangs of fools and the folk who'll vote for a twister of rules. And the bloke who wrote for the local press did a whitewash job on the whole fucking mess. Theft of the lefties, stories of Tories. It doesn't take a genius to know where the law is, backing up the bankers, the wankers who thank us. All of the crawlers come to outflank us, to charm us, disarm us with bargains of jargon, slogans to plant in our own back garden. There's a red under the bed and a fanatic in the attic, like us, anarchists. When you swallow hollow lies from the pseudo-democratic, these are the ones, the smug little buggers, have the nerve to talk about thugs and muggers, while they do much worse to the public purse. And contracts go to those who know that wherever there's a post, and wherever there's a seat, and wherever there's a place where the council meets, what is it, huh? Surprise, surprise, it's money. Money, money, money. Money makes most of the moves.
Got a job? Okay, you got a job. Do you save your money to buy some things? You know what I'm talking about. Things. A new VCR, a new clock radio, a new blender. Just gotta have a coffee grinder. Things. They keep you on and more, more, more. They keep you on and more, more, more. Get up in the morning time, jump in your car, it's quite fine. Get to work, your boss is gonna tell you a thing or two. You too can make it to the top, and you too can punch the mighty time clock. They keep you on and more, more, more. They keep you on and more, more, more. Okay, you made it to the top. You made it to the top. And now that you're there, there's a plan. There's an elaborate scheme that makes it all okay. That you climbed, you crawled, you clawed your way to the top over sweating, demented bodies. One of them was mine, but that's okay. It's the American dream, not the American dream, not the American dream. They keep you on and more, more, more. They keep you on and more, more, more. Keep you on and more, 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 and more, 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 and more, and more. And all I want you to do, think about the possibilities.
I see my reflection in the confusion section of people's interior thought pattern drives. I say something profound and it makes a nice sound, and as it goes round and round for the rest of their lives, you see your reflection in my mental dissection, and a two-way direction gets formed in between. We speak how we think, but we think it sounds like you were meaning one thing as I thought the other, yet knew it would be so easy to say, hold on there, brother, let's take it from the start again. And each of us would laugh, knowing how the other half works is only the way we both think. Yet we drive, eat, sleep, talk, walk, kiss goodbye and drink like separate beings joined at the lip. You and I got together and went for all this, not in front of each other, but next to ourselves, diffusing the confusing parts of our hearts that previously cluttered our minds, then next to, in front of each other, like we were joined at the womb, twin sister and brother, from losing the fight to remember the light, how it sparkles in eyes you once knew, to knowing again as the sun melts the rain and the light shines from you into me, into you for as long as forever, and I love you too.
My name's Martha. I was born and raised in Regina. Got married at 16, divorced at 23, and they took my 3 kids away from me. I worked, I slaved, I put groceries on the table, I paid the rent, and I fell hard. My back was never the same, all bent. I lost my job, my apartment, every saved cent. I had no place to go, so I called the street my home. Cardboard bed under my head, a cardboard roof, keep out the dead, cardboard steak, chew it fine, this old body's doing hard time. Call me Dave, I'm 59. I used to paint bridges and drive taxi, but been 4 years without an apartment. Medical problems, depressed, my life turned upside down. I had a bad assault on me once in a shelter, robbed, broke my teeth, busted my nose. I lost my dreams, I lost my mind, I even lost my bottle. A cop would come by and smash the bulge in my pocket with his nightstick. So I get a quarter here or there, and I drink myself to sleep each night. Cardboard bed under my head, a cardboard roof, keep out the dead, a cardboard steak, chew it fine, this old body's doing a hard time. I'm Alice. I was born somewhere in Ontario. I don't remember where. I used to sew pants, men's pants with cuffs, beautiful pants. And I got sick, bad. Now I sing. I sing to all the birds. I sing to the flowers. And I sing to my friend the wind. And I sing to keep away the men. The men, they bother me. The men, they scare me. The men, they beat me once because I said no. I want to be alone. I don't want men near me ever again, no. Cardboard bed under my head, a cardboard roof, keep out the bed, cardboard steak, chew it fine, this old body's doing hard time. Just call me Joe. I hate having to stand in line for handouts. Fuck this charity business. Give me a job. Let me live like a human. Why do they treat us like animals, like scum? For 30 years, I worked in the same plant, and they shut it down, kicked us out. I had nothing in the bank. My UI ran out. Welfare screwed me around so much I got sick. You know, one of these days, I'd like to wring somebody's neck. Those big shots up in the hill, you think they give a damn? They just grow fat and ugly and watch us die. Cardboard bed under my head, cardboard roof, keep out the dead, cardboard steak, chew it fine, this old body's doing hard time. What's your name?
Tell us. I said, tell us this. Tell us, are you jealous when they're out with a mate? When they're pubbing and clubbing and they come home late? When they lie and cry and offer alibis, but they blow it and you know it, because you read their eyes. And you want to shout, but you just say nout. Then some silly bugger goes and intercedes with something like, where I come from, nothing ever happens in Bradford and Leeds. And you say, no doubt, if you never go out, there's a lot of bloody psychopaths about. And streets away, another headline breeds in an urban alley where a victim bleeds. And you think about the views that you heard on the news, and who from history stands accused. of dreadlock, deadlock streets of Soweto, queues of Jews in the Warsaw ghetto, lives of wives measured in washing machines, or the gore of war with the Argentines. But down in London it all gets undone. Not an ounce of passional rock the smugly rational, patronising Amnesty International, as trendy comics and old pop stars mix with the rich in theatre bars. Reasonable attitudes, liberal platitudes, jolly concert japes and capers leading to write-ups in the papers. Darling, lovely to see you. What a simply super show. Why, there's absolutely everybody here that I know. And wasn't dear John Cleese divine? Next week's jaunt is a cheese and wine that's either for Israel or Palestine. But I really like what you've done with your hair. And I really want to hear about your latest affair. And the places you've been, and the things that you got, and the mood that you're in, and who says what. Very little improves, and most gets worse. But I make no moves, I just write verse. 'Cause between me and you, it's not what you do. It's who screws who screws who screws who in the human zoo. That's what really counts, isn't it?
The pit bull terrier is an example of an animal that has been genetically engineered so its skull is smaller than should be for its brain. And so quite a few pit bull terriers are subject to infections like meningitis, which cause them great pain and make them very violent animals. She took her pit bull terrier to her breast. It felt her heart. It made him start. She made a hex on his mashed-in little brain. She fed him catnip, leftover corn chips. Pit bull terror. Rover's a lethal weapon. Homing missile. Don't need no license to kill. Her mom and dad had put her to shame. They'd scream and shout. They'd kicked her out. She dropped the dog off for the weekend. He ate mom's face and dad's leg brace. Pit bull terror. Rover's a lethal weapon. An organic homing missile. Don't need no license to kill. When Dad came home, he saw the carnage. Dog bit his throat until he croaked. She numbed her pit bull's mashed-in brain. Then to the pound, they put him down. Pit bull terror. Rover's a lethal weapon. Organic homing missile. Don't need no license to kill.
One of the writers, free-form fighters, against all the things designed to delight us, gathered together, ignoring the weather. No matter how much you moan, it goes on forever. And in order of rank, proceeded to thank the previous performer. And when finished the lecture on the failings of nature that made them the greater, bar those that came later, introduced the one after with gushes of praise, in the hope that they may be raised the year after. Top of the bill with a 5-minute thrill of names printed bigger, famous for placing the words in the order that no one had thought of before. So the standards he raised were exactly the same as he'd always complained about. Said he would sort it out. Took so much time, by the end of the process he was towing the line. With his face all contorted he shouted, "I've sorted it out." But the queue for the headlining spot had not got any smaller, and the excessive lights on the stage were impressive but made him no taller. And the songs with that music he read from his book were the protesting kind, in surrogate rhyme. He borrowed the words from a friend who was blind, who had seen the whole farce and had left it behind. Big headline writers, free-form dividers, against all the things that they crave to delight us. Changed a few words and nobody noticed. Too much to tell to the person beside us. I knew him up there when he was a fighter, and if I was there I'd be totally different. Watching it happen and writing it down. Write down what happens and watch it survive. Message received, and now let's do something different.
Man thinks woman when he talks to me. Something not quite right. I don't fit his image of humanity.
To a man and who wants me to bite his tongue. I bite his tongue and he wants to know how I know where the pleasure pain lies. And I said, I know, like the women in Africa who carry their little babies against their bare skin. They know, they can sense, they can feel when their little baby has to pee. Man thinks woman when he talks to me, something not quite right. Man thinks woman when he talks to me, something's not quite right. I talk to men of the brown, birds to rolling sea. I talk to men of the ground, birds to rolling sea. The world is a wave passing by, whatever I throw in. The world is a wave passing by, whatever I throw in. Something not quite right. Man thinks woman when he talks to me. Something not quite right. Man thinks woman when he talks to me. Something not quite right. Not quite right. Not quite right. There's something wrong with me.
Meat Boutique is the name of a butcher's shop in Bradford. Bradford, England, not Ontario, so don't go rushing out to buy some meat. Yeah? I got to thinking, if you want to put people off eating meat, how about making them wear the stuff? Right? How about making meat fashion? Lord, people do wear it. Haven't you ever seen a fucking leather jacket? So, Meat Boutique. With the chic fleek clique from the Meat Boutique, you wake in bacon, shave in gravy, take a wash in warm goulash, hit the street in a suit of meat and knock 'em flat, knock 'em flat, knock 'em flat in your pork pie hat, then wham, bam, beef and lamb, mutton your button and stew your shoe. Advertisements. Feel fresh as flesh with twice the charm. Try gammon, roll on underarm. God damn veal and ham, walk and talk as suave as pork. Advertisements. Don't waste yourself. Baste yourself. Life is easy, bright and breezy when you make your skin go greasy. Don't be a dripping. Don't be a prating fat. It's lard for the lad who's hard. If it ain't lard, it's lardy-dar. So slam, blam, brawn and spam, sirloin steak and streaky bacon, wham, bam, beef and lamb, mutton your button and stew your shoe. God damn, veal and ham, walk and talk as suave as pork, kazam! Unique, sleek, at their peak, they're the chic freak clique, the chic freak clique, the chic freak clique from the meat boutique.
Good morning, Americaca! This is AIFR, Intelligence Free Radio, and I'm your host for this misty morning, Bob Boom, coming right up with weather, sports, traffic, and all your favorite hits from Americaca hitmen stationed around the globe, protecting you and yours from them and theirs. And remember, listeners, if it ain't free, it ain't Americaca! Right. Now we got a word from one of our freedom-loving sponsors, Coke.
Coke. You know it's the real thing when it comes all the way from the jungles of Bolivia in a C.I.A. plane. Genuine state-approved C.I.A. Coke. Snorters know it's the one. At your dealers now. Support the right to dictate. Snort it and watch your dollars finance another covert CIA operation. Available only in Americaca.
Hey! How about traffic? We got a traffic report from our lovely deodorized Donna. Donna, are you up there? Donna, can you hear me? Donna, come in, please. Hey, boo! There's a steady flow of arms heading north through Canada en route to Guatemala, so border delays are expected. Meanwhile, plane loads of Americaca hostages coming back in trade from all around the world are plugging major air terminals, bus depots, and trade stations. We advise commuters to stay home until all our boys and girls are back safely. Oh yes, that meltdown up in Pickering, it's causing havoc on the freeway. Do drive carefully, you'll get out quicker. That's it, boo. Thanks, Donna. And remember, if it ain't safe, it ain't Americaca. Weather. That continuing radioactive drizzle on Tuesday will be light and won't bother those of you enjoying your backyard bomb shelters. Still available in lovely pastel colors from this here radio station for lucky survivors out there. Oh, how we love you, Americaca! Now, here's our hit single from the El Salvadorian Police Academy Death Squad, who recently toured Americaca to rave reviews everywhere. Are you ready, boys? 1, 2, 3. Can you hit it? Can you hit it?
Hey, get out of our way. We just came back from the USA. Hey, get out of our way. Now we work for the CIA.
All right! That's been #1 in our charts for weeks. Only here in America. Sports. Here's Ernie with a fast-breaking report from the Mediterranean finals. Hey, Ernie. Well, Bo, in the International Terrorist League, the U.S. State Department still maintains a healthy lead over its closest competitor, outgunning, outbombing, outkilling everybody in the first quarter. Season's tickets for the best seats in our own C.I.A helicopter gunship are still available. That's it, Ernie. I gotta go now. Thanks, Ernie. Oh, now we know why we're on top here in Americaca. We're gonna be right back after a word from this sponsor.
Are you hungry? Are you unable to afford a loaf of Wonder Bread, a TV dinner, or a breakfast at Champions? Cry no more. If you're a pensioner or unemployed or someone on a fixed income, Doctor Knows Best dog food it's just for you. It's cheap. It's nutritional.
will too. Another great idea from the folks here at Americaca. Remember, listeners, you don't have to be hit by a flying brick or a Molotov to know you got problems. Call Mr. Fix-It on our troubleshooting hotline, Oliver North. No global issue, no neighborhood menace is too hot for him to handle. And remember, you can trust Ollie just like you can trust us, because this is what it's all about in Americaca.
Right, this one's got a better title than the actual poem is. The title is Black and White 1940s Saloon Bar, No Gimmicks, Scene 36. Well, hi, my name's Johnny, it's nice to meet you. He shook her hand and went into the future conversation that laid ahead, all macked out inside his head. He'd say his name and ask of hers and probably get a reply and smile and say, what brings you this way? And probably find out why. But the conversation was weirder than that. The girl shook his hand from where she was sat, which was relatively normal, relatively quite expected. Here comes the question, who are you? Be polite and it'll happen to you. But pretend you don't know me, I think I'm being followed, was just too weird and unexpected. Conversation makes your former expectation go back to get re-education. This sort of thing keeps happening, so don't expect anything.
Cause you know how we women get, and you know there's nowhere you can hide. Pre-murder syndrome got a hold of me. I'm working myself into a killing frenzy. Pre-murder syndrome, my iron is low, and I need to make some of your blood flow. I'm all dressed to kill in spotless white, like I just walked out of a Tampax ad. You can call it raging hormones or whatever you like. Just stay out of my way, or you'll wish you had. Pre-murder syndrome got a hold of me. I'm working myself into a killing frenzy. Pre-murder syndrome, my iron is low, and I need to make some of your blood flow. Carve you up and make a mess. Oh, what's the matter? Can't you take a little pain? Don't you worry about the blood on my dress. I'll just tell them it's a menstrual stain. Pre-murder syndrome's got a hold of me. I'm working myself into a killing frenzy. Pre-murder syndrome, my iron is low. I need to make some of your blood flow. Nothing relieves tension like a good killing spree. I don't really care if it's a capital offense. 'Cause I know no court's going to convict me when I use the PMS defense. Pre-murder syndrome had a hold of me. I just got into this killing frenzy. Pre-murder syndrome, Your Honor, my iron was low. I just had to make someone else's blood flow.
Everybody's friend was smiling, doing his thing, your thing, my thing. And hey, we all knew he was superhuman. Saw him tear whole marriages apart with his bare body. And he walked through walls, used total recall to threaten us all by name. It was a game, it was a game, it was a game he played when he regaled us with a delve in the dark details of our secret selves, where he plundered the shelves for fun, carried his grin like a gun, shot down everyone with his callous tongue. And it was easy to tell that he was cold as hell from the way he walked away from the slaughter. But he drank his beer like water, and on 12 pints of bitter and a load of dope, he allowed his ego too much scope. Said he'd storm the stage, be the rage, spread himself on the centre page. Some hope, sunshine, some hope. He'd about as much chance as a Jewish pope. Was a hero in his own imagination, a victim of self-admiration. You and me, you and me, you and me both. But overindulgence stunts our growth. When someone else's home is where your heart is, you gate crash other people's parties uninvited. But it comes as a shock when they merely mock, where you expect them all to be delighted. He was a pain in the neck, a social wreck whose famous phallus was a fallacy. And he knew it. Courted phony fame through fatality, but he blew it. Because he couldn't even cope with a length of rope or a razor blade, so the plans he'd made misfired, and all that he finally acquired was a dubious brand of immortality. Not the sort that he sought, but one that he caught through the flaws in his own personality. The bitterest twist is always at the end, and everybody's friend was getting in his car, still believing he was gonna go far. But you never can tell. You never can tell. You never can tell what's round the next bend.
Richard wants to waltz away, trying to pick up blue. Richard has a choice to make. It's Richard's day. It's Richard's day. It's all obvious to Richard, and he defends his point of view. No, he doesn't like the unions, and abortion's not okay. He says abortion's not okay. Richard talks, he talks instead of thinking. Richard knows a thing or two. We should all be just like Richard. Forget the lazy and the poor. Hey, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do, eh? Richard, have a steak and beer. Things are going Richard's way. Richard's way. Richard smiles. Richard smiles. Some things don't interest Richard, that's all. Richard walks and walks away, round a big blue. Richard has a choice to make. It's Richard's day. It's Richard's decade. It seems to be Richard's century. It's all obvious to Richard, and he defends his point of view. No, he doesn't like the unions, and abortion's not okay. Of course abortion's not okay. Richard talks, he talks instead of thinking. Richard knows a thing or two. We should all be just like Richard. Forget the lazy and the poor. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. Richard, have a steak and beer. Things are going Richard's way. It's Richard's day. Richard smiles. Richard smiles. Have you seen this smile? woman said, I think I'll change it all. One woman, she took out a suitcase. One woman threw it on the bed. She left Alexandria, Virginia. She drove to Washington, D.C. Then things began to happen. People, they listened to what she said. One woman said, let's stop the lies about the Russians. Let's stop the killings and the wars. One woman said, just one woman. One woman said, just one. And all the people listening, they saw the steel traps spring free. And all the people listening, they saw the steel traps spring free. One woman said, just one woman said.
With no one to talk to, I felt it okay to approach the man in the corner and say, hello, do you drink much? He stared in contempt, or was it confusion? I didn't relent. Do you realise, I said, that most people here escape from their boredom by drinking some beer? Yes, I do. Go away. I'm drunk and depressed, he said. So I backed off and gave it a rest. Then all of a sudden he looked up and laughed and waving at someone demanded a half. I pretend it's my birthday, he grinned like a child, so my friends buy me drinks every once in a while. Do you have any children? I asked him. He said no, but my wife has, and he laughed and turned red. Cheered up by his laughter, he offered a drink. I thought of refusing to see what he'd think. He bought me one anyway, regardless of choice, and revelled in the sound of his beer-sodden voice. I looked and said, thank you, but I'll pay for this. Forget it, it's payday, the money's not missed. After a bit, I got back to the point. Do you know the percentage of tax in that pint? You what? No, I don't. So I told him. He scowled. The prices go up while my wages go down. Most of your wages go down in your guts, I yelled, and a silence fell over the pub. He stared at me, angry. Get out of my sight. I swallowed my anger and avoided a fight. We sat there in silence and he stared in his drink. He looked up and said to me, you've made me think. He knocked over his glass. The table got soaked. I wetted the punchline to this rather strange joke. People get really upset doing that because the money is wasted, he said, and he laughed. But the beer that is drunk turns to piss down a wall. So what is the point of drinking at all? With this daft-sounding logic, he'd been self-defeated and looked very confused. To the bar he retreated. I followed and asked him, what was that all about? He said, I'll just have a drink, then I'll figure it out.
In the late 1950s and early 60s, high atop a hill near the University of McGill in the city of Montreal, one Dr. Ewan Cameron was conducting top secret mind control experiments at the Allen Memorial Institute on 53 unsuspecting Canadians. We're washing brains at the Allen. Brains at the Allen. We're washing brains at the Allen for the old C.I.A. We put too much starch in the brains. Starch
in the brains. Put too much starch in the brain for the old CIA. Now we're not washing any more brains at the Allen.
No, we're not washing any more
brains at the Allen.
No, we're not washing any more
brains at the Allen.
He's a bad harmony.
The old CIA. We're washing brains somewhere else.
Look over there.
Brains somewhere else. We're washing brains somewhere else for the old CIA.
It's a short one, really short. If you want to go to the toilet, hurry up. This is called Timeless Genetic Stupidity. Your baby will grow up to be the same as your mother, and I despair for the past as well as the future. Stop.